Your top story, the blame game over Sassa grants debacle has intensified. The African National Congress Women's League has lashed out at Cosatu for asking Social Development Minister Batabile Dlamini's resignation over the grants crisis. The Women's League has called Cosatu's demand as grandstanding. The league says it is irresponsible, in particular from an ANC alliance partner, to make allegations that the Sassa CPS matter smells of corruption, but not lay any corruption charge to the law enforcement agencies.
The right to say anything that they want to say on it and any public figure. South Africa is a democracy, and people have a right to express their opinions. The minister is answerable to the president, to cabinet, to South Africa, and via parliament. There's no way that this says that she must account to Cosatu. Social grant beneficiaries have received their money for March. So I'm not sure what people are saying, what is that anyone must be accountable for. There's no money owed to social grant beneficiaries. Social grants are the lifeblood of the most poor and vulnerable of this country. The Department of Social Development, through Sassa, has a constitutional obligation to make sure that South Africans receive their social grants.
Joining us on the phone line to discuss this further is Cosatu spokesperson Sizwe Pamla. We're also joined by Moeko Matuba, the ANC Women's League Secretary General. Good afternoon to the both of you, and thank you for joining us here on ANN7. Sizwe, I'm just going to come to you and just ask you for Cosatu's response to the Women's League coming out and calling Cosatu's stance with regards to the minister as grandstanding. What would you say to that?
No, it says a lot about the Youth League and what
Women's
its priority. Yes, it says a lot about the Women's League and its priorities. They are full of factionalism, that's all. We were not talking to them in the first place. We were talking about the issue of Sassa and a minister who's been deployed as a political head of the department. So the fact that they felt the need to defend an individual instead of discussing the issues that we were raising, you can read the entirety of that statement. They don't offer any solution as to what should happen in terms of resolving the crisis. The fact that they still pretend as if this is not a crisis, they are the only ones in this country who actually look at that and feel that is normal. So if that is normal, it says more about them than it says anything about us as the federation. We still insist that that issue, it should result in the minister being dismissed. Secondly, we didn't wake up and just say Minister Dlamini should be dismissed because of the Sassa crisis. We've been monitoring Minister Dlamini for quite some time. Not long ago, she was accused by the senior managers at Sassa of meddling in an attempt to control a tender there, with 300 million of food parcel tenders. We only received an incoherent response that didn't really clarify as to what was going on there. This is the same minister who, when responding to DA in Parliament, said 750 rand a month is adequate for social grant beneficiaries in this country. So this has been a build-up of these failures. By the way, when it comes to corruption, because they keep saying that we must go and open a case, we have every right to suspect corruption because this is the minister who said when South Africa was discussing corruption that maybe people should temper their own language when it comes to corruption because all of us have got skeletons in our closet. Is that the person that we should entrust with the responsibility of leading a society? If when we discuss issues of corruption, the rot that is destroying this country, and the only thing she could offer is that, well, there's no one who's innocent. So the point the Federation has been making is that when we look at the status of the department and we look at everything that he has done and some of the things that he has said, we have no reason but to suspect that there's something beyond incompetence that has led us to where we are right now.
Mr. Pamela, let's leave it there just for now. We want you to stay on the line. Let's get a reaction now from the Women's League, the ANC Women's League. For that, we are joined by Moeaqo Matuba, the ANC Women's League Secretary General. Good afternoon to you, Secretary General. Thank you for joining us here. The Women's League's response to what Mr. Sizwe Pamela had just mentioned, allegations of the Women's League defending an individual, and also questions around why they aren't allowed to probe corruption and make allegations of corruption. The Women's League's response, please.
You know, as the ANC Women's League, we stick to our statement. We are not a spokesperson for Department of Social Development. We are not defending anybody except to say if Cosatu is so sure about corruption that has happened between the CPS Sassa issue, let them go to the nearest police station and open a case in a police station. It will not be good for us to say some things whilst we are not acting on that particular issue. And again, secondly, if they feel so strong about issues that they are saying the minister admitted, why can't they go to the nearest police station and open a case? We are worried that they are beginning to lose the focus in reorganizing the unorganized workers, looking at the issues of the working class, looking at them and begin to champion them. Whether are they doing that now or at a later stage, we don't know. But what we know is that women are still victims out there. Women are being raped underground. Issues that are affecting poor working class must be their priority. With these issues of saying that people must be removed from me, is that they are not really addressing the workers. With them, it should be the agenda of the workers. If there's corruption, they must begin to say there's corruption in area 1, 2, 3, and 4, and begin to approach the law enforcement agencies. We are not defending anyone. We do have a clear agenda. We are still the face of poverty in the country. We still have gender-based violence in the country. Women are not yet economically empowered. That's our issue. That's our agenda. And if they do have issues really with the Minister of Social Development, we don't think the Women's League is the right structure to approach. And we are waiting for processes also. We are looking at a government processes. We know that 17.2 million people after the 1st of April should be receiving their grants. That's our main worry, to try on a public space on who should lead, who should not. Definitely for me, it's very functional of Cosatu. They are not looking at their issues. They are losing membership daily because they don't take workers' issues very seriously in the country. If they can begin to refocus their energies and agenda on issues that are affecting the poor working class in the country, including women, will definitely take them silver.
Secretary General, thank you for your comments. Just stay on the line with us. Let's get reaction now from Cosatu on the Secretary General of the ANC Women's League's views and comments. Mr. Pamela, coming back to you. The ANC Women's League stating that Cosatu is losing focus on its priorities and that they are not defending anyone. Your response?
This is corruption. This is political bankruptcy at its best. They call us an ally, meaning that we are not a gumboot union, meaning that we operate in the political space. And on their second sentence, they say we must go back to the workplace and leave issues outside of the workplace. Let me address them. You cannot divorce workplace struggle with societal struggle. That's point number one. So I would hope that people who are leading any league of the ANC will be clear on that. Secondly, where do they think this taxpayers' money come from? Who are these taxpayers they keep talking about? We pay tax. We represent taxpayers. So anytime we feel that those who are entrusted with the responsibility of deciding on how to spend taxpayers' money and we feel that they are not fit, we have every reason to call for their removal. And we do. We call for the removal of Minister Bathabile Dlamini. Number 3, they have been talking about positions here because that is what has preoccupied them. We can tell you, yesterday when we were saying this issue, by the way, in the same statement, we were saying that we are going to go and sign the national minimum wage, a policy that we've been pursuing and pushing as a federation. What is it that they can say they've done for women in this country, except to issue statements that are fictional? The reality here is that this economy, the economy that has led us to have 17 million people in this country who are dependent on welfare. It's because the ANC has failed to transform that economy. Now, for any leak of the ANC to actually look at what is currently happening, the current job losses, and feel that that has to be used as a political football, it shows the levels of bankruptcy in terms of political bankruptcy. We are still saying, this is our response to them, by the way. They keep talking about positions that they say some CEC members of Cosatu want from the ANC. There will be no positions in 2019 if they continue with that attitude of failing to address issues, of factionalizing everything that is being discussed in this country. We are not going to retreat. We demand that Minister Bathabile Dlamini be removed. She is incompetent. She has failed the people of South Africa. The Youth League itself, its relevancy, the fact that their spokesperson sits there and lists a number of challenges facing women, and then delegate and outsource everything to a workers' federation. It tells you they have got no idea what they are supposed to be doing, actually. Because all of the issues she's been listing, they are the ones who should be telling us this is what we've been doing as the Women's League of the ANC to raise these issues and make sure that we have an imaginative legislation to address them and to make sure that there are campaigns behind those issues and to make sure that those issues get resolved. We have resolved issues of workers. We continue to resolve them. And we are saying again,
we hear you, spokesperson. We hear you. Unfortunately, we are running out of time. I'm going to have to cut you off there, but we do appreciate you talking to us and sharing your views. That was Cosatu spokesperson, Mr. Sizwe Pamela, joining us on the phone line, as well as Moekgo Matuba, the ANC Women's League Secretary General. I want to thank both of you for giving us your views and comments. This is with regards to the alleged Sassa crisis that we are seeing. Cosatu stating that the Minister of Social Development needs to be held accountable and removed from her position, while the ANC Women's League has come forward and stated that they feel Cosatu is grandstanding and using this situation to their advantage by grandstanding and a debate continuing there. Stay tuned to 8 and 7. We are going to keep you up to date.